Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is the last day of the seniors at Seminole Lake. It was a crazy day, mainly because we had the Gulf Air move in from the Gulf of Mexico from the west. So on the screen here, moving from left to right, and it basically overshadowed the course line, shut down the lift, made for hard to read clouds, and gave everybody fits. It was quite the day. So before flying, I looked at SkySight, and I saw that yes, that sea breeze was forecasted to move in and shut down the lift. And you can see the huge amount of stippling involved. So generally, lift was broken and somewhat hard to center most of the day, but particularly the second half of the day. And you can see with the buoyancy shear and lift strength how it really deteriorated during the day up in the northwest corner of the task area. So my track is shown on this map. Just ignore the little blue button that moves around. That doesn't really indicate anything. But you can see from my track the area that we covered as we flew along there. Cloud bases, as you can see from SkySight, were 4,000 to 5,000 feet most of the day. Trying to access something on my computer here, and it's not working. Anyway, we've got some satellite images that were downloaded from the OLC using Biff Huss's track log. And so you can see this is Biff, and you can see the enormous cloud field that we had, scattered cumulus as far as the eye could see in every direction. Really good conditions down this first leg and most of the way along the second leg. Really good clouds. The green glider here is Biff. He started about 15 minutes before I did. And then Sarah and Susan in the Arcus are in the blue glider, and I'm in a JS3, which is the red glider on this screen. And tactically, I was chasing Sarah and Susan at the beginning of the flight. So as Biff comes in and makes his first turn, you can see that cloud field is sort of drifting off to the east. And now he's coming up on a big blue area with other clouds across that blue path. So here we are back at the three of us heading south, now that you can see what the clouds were looking like that we were under. And I was chasing Sarah and Susan, and tactically with handicaps it made sense for me to stick with them, but I wasn't really having fun doing that, and I was waiting for an opportunity for them to do something that I didn't want to do to separate from them, which is what happened as we entered the second turn area. So we still had good climbs down in this area where we're flying. Things were going really well. We were flying 80 knots or so between thermals, and working some pretty good thermals. So you can see how Biff extends the flight out towards the west. I didn't want to go that far, and so when Susan and Sarah in the Arcus came in to that area, that was my chance to peel off from them. So back to Biff here, so you can see where the clouds were. The clouds kind of cycled, so there weren't that many right now, but they rapidly moved back in again and recycled and became quite thick. So this third leg involved overshadowing moving into the turn area and shutting off heating on the ground, making it harder to find good thermals. Although they were still out there, but they were few and far between. So it looked like the clouds should be working, and they weren't because there were too many of them. But it fooled just about all of us anyway. Even though we saw what was going on, we were experiencing it, we still allowed the way the conditions look to fool us into thinking that we were flying in a good path when actually we weren't. So I started becoming more concerned with the Gulf air moving in and the clouds, and detoured a little bit to the east, trying to stay in the sunshine. So as Biff moves to his third turn, you can see how those clouds were moving in there. So again, Biff is in the green, I'm the red glider, and Sarah and Susan in the Arcus in blue. And so I was flying with Barry and Dick in their Arcus, and when they made the same turn that Biff makes and heads into the far quadrant of that third turn area, I kind of peeled off from those guys and started veering a little more east. Again, I was trying to stay in the sun and work what looked to be more recognizable cumulus clouds, isolated cumulus, as opposed to this big cloud deck that moved in on top of us. So as Biff makes his fourth leg, you can see those clouds still moving in, and they ended up coming all the way across to Seminole Lake and overshadowing Seminole Lake, and really shutting down the lift for that last leg going south, going home. So I'm in the red glider. I'm still trying to run far enough east to get back in the sunshine and back underneath good clouds. But it wasn't working all that well, and I thought I was blowing it. I could still see the cloud street out to the west, and in my mind I imagined everybody else just blasting along at Cloud Street, leaving me behind. I thought I'd really blown it, thought I'd already lost the contest at this point, all because of my head, my mental attitude. So I wasn't in a good place here, and that's kind of why I'm making this video, so that I can analyze it and do better next time. But as Biff comes home here, you can see the clouds moving in, and they're really a lot thicker than that image made it appear. It's almost a solid cloud deck. So as I'm flying along going south here in the red glider, I'm looking over and I can see some gliders, and I can see more gliders on Flarm. And even though I couldn't see anybody high, my mind was playing tricks on me, and I could only imagine people just streaking along at cloud base, off to my right, underneath that cloud street, which didn't really happen. So I really have to go with what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing, and try to straighten my head out when I get into that negative mode of thought that we all do. And you know, it's a crazy, funny, invisible chess game that we play, and we end up getting these attitudes fixed in our heads that don't really meet with reality. It's a really funny business. But anyway, yeah, I spent a lot of time berating myself for going the wrong way, and yet all of the indications were that I was doing the right thing. So I really need to work harder on hanging on to that positive attitude when I'm flying and not let some imagined ideas encroach in my head and take over from what I see and feel is real and what is going on. So again, that's why I'm making this video, mostly for myself, so that I'll remind myself next time that if the going gets rough, it's probably rough going for everybody, not just me. And I need to maintain a positive attitude and stick with my game plan and do the best I can. But it was a great contest. We had 5 days of flying, a lot of great times with friends and big gaggles, and it was a lot of fun. Had a great time. Thank you, Rich, and everybody that put on the contest.